In India, Asian Paints is more than just a brand. It's practically a household name, a synonym for giving your home a fresh splash of color. But for a company this massive, the path forward is never just a single smooth coat of paint. Their latest quarterly results? Well, they tell a really fascinating story of contrasts. We're talking headwinds, some super savvy strategy, and a whole lot of innovation. So let's dive right in.
So that really begs the question, right? How does a giant like Asian Paints steer the ship through a tricky economy? When your main business starts to feel the squeeze, what's the game plan? That's the central question we're going to unpack here.
All right, first up, let's look at the heart of their empire, decorative paints in India. This is their bread and butter, and it's where the first chapter of our story begins, with a slowdown that you could definitely feel.
Okay, so this chart tells a really crucial part of the story. You see the volume growth? That's the actual amount of paint they sold. It slowed down quite a bit. But the real kicker is the value growth. It actually went negative. What does that mean? Well, it suggests that even though they were still selling paint, they were making less money on each can sold, maybe because of discounts or maybe because people were opting for cheaper products.
So what's the reason for this slump? Well, we can hear it straight from the horse's mouth. The company's CEO, Amit Singhal, pointed the finger directly at the early and really intense monsoons. I mean, it makes sense, right? When it's pouring rain outside, you're probably going to postpone that big painting project. It's a simple reason, but one that had a huge effect on the numbers we just saw.
But here's the thing. A market leader doesn't just throw up their hands and blame the weather. And this brings us to the really interesting part of the story, how Asian Paints is fighting back. And their weapon of choice? Innovation. And here is a perfect example of that strategy in action. Check out their new campaign for Apcolite All Pro Tech. The secret sauce here is something they're calling the Lotus Effect technology, which is designed to make stains just slide right off. See, they're not just selling you a color, they're selling a high-tech solution to a super common problem, and they're aiming it squarely at the premium end of the market.
And they're pushing even higher into what you might call the super luxury space. Their Nilaya Arc paint is not only eco-friendly, it actually claims to help purify the air in your room. This is a brilliant move, tapping right into that growing trend of wanting a healthier, wellness-focused home.
They're also thinking beyond just a smooth coat of paint. With Royale Play imprints, they're offering these amazing textures that look like wallpaper. It's a really clever way to capture more value by giving customers that high-end designer look without all the hassle of actual wallpaper.
So you might be thinking, okay, that's a lot of cool new stuff, but does it actually move the needle? Well, get this. All those new products we just looked at, they contributed a whopping 14% to the company's revenue this quarter. That is not a small number. It's proof positive that their focus on R&D is translating directly into sales. And for Asian Paints, innovation isn't just about what's inside the can, it's also about what's on the can. I mean, look at this stunning limited edition design, a tribute to Odisha. By creating these beautiful regional packs, they're connecting with local pride and culture. It turns a simple purchase into an emotional state. All right, now let's zoom out a bit, because the company's long-term game plan is way, way bigger than just paint. They are on a full-blown mission to become a powerhouse in the entire home decor universe, both here in India and around the world. This slide just perfectly sums up that huge ambition. On the one side, you see the blueprint, the strategic plan to become #1 in everything from lighting and fabrics to kitchens and bathrooms. And on the other side, you see that plan becoming a reality. These massive new beautiful home stores are designed to be a one-stop shop for your entire home makeover. But, and this is a big but, this grand expansion isn't magically immune to what's happening in the wider economy. With people watching their wallets, big-ticket items are feeling the pinch. And you can see it here. Both their kitchen and bath businesses saw revenues dip this quarter. It's a stark reminder that when you diversify, you also diversify your challenges. Okay, now let's shift our focus and go global. This map really drives home the point that Asian Paints is so much more than just an Indian company. They have a major footprint all across the Middle East, Asia, and Africa. And this international arm has become a really crucial part of their growth story. And you know what? It was a real bright spot this quarter. The international business grew a very healthy 8.4%. They saw particularly strong growth in some of their key Asian markets, and they even managed to improve their profitability. Now, it wasn't all perfect. They faced some headaches with currency issues in places like Ethiopia, but overall, it was a solid performance.
So after looking at the domestic slowdown, the incredible innovation, and the global expansion, how does it all add up? Let's get to the bottom line and do a quick financial health check.
So here we have the headline numbers. And you can see that net sales and profit were both down a little bit, which reflects all those pressures we've been talking about. But the really interesting number here, the one that shows the company's hidden strength, is right at the bottom, gross margins.
And this chart just drives that point home. Despite all the top-line pressure, just look at how stable their gross margins have been. They're holding strong at around 43%. The company says this is down to being really smart about sourcing materials and running their operations efficiently. To me, that's a powerful sign of just how resilient this business is under the hood. So, what's next? Looking ahead, the company sees a bit of a mixed bag. They're seeing some good signs, some green shoots of recovery in cities, and they're hopeful that a good monsoon will help out in rural areas. But they're also being realistic. They know competition is going to be fierce, and they have to keep a close watch on costs. The main takeaway for them? Their focus is locked on that innovation quotient.
And that leaves us with the final multi-billion-dollar question, doesn't it? In a market that's getting more crowded by the day, Asian Paints is placing a huge bet on its ability to innovate faster and connect more deeply with its customers. Is that powerful 1-2 punch going to be enough to keep them at the top and ensure their future stays bright and colorful? Well, that's the story we'll all be watching.